Now, you're probably saying to yourself, I thought this game was nothing but flowers, rainbows, and catnip, and to think this was the beginning. So it all starts out sweet and innocent, until it takes a very dark turn. The cat ends up at the bottom of the sewer and completely left in the dark. Venturing to a dark barren city, you realize you're being watched by security cameras. Led by an unknown force, it guides you with arrows and pulleys. After narrowly escaping from the Zergs, you are led into a dilapidated home. Continuing to follow arrows and scratch up carpets, you do some cat hacking and unintentionally rescue B12. B12 seems confused at first, and then gracious. After thanking you, he says he can't remember his name, and he's been trapped inside the network for a long time. Before leaving together, B12 gives you a backpack, which is arguably the cutest scene. Heading into the slums, you encounter a robot named Guardian, tells you to seek Momo. After meeting Momo, you help him install a transceiver, which guides you into hordes of Zergs. After successfully connecting the transmitter, B12 regains some of his memory. Heading to the bar to meet up with Momo, B12 tells you some more disturbing truths. After signaling Balbazar, he tells us to go through some sewers before losing signal. Overhearing the plan to escape, Seamus warns us about going through the sewers. The bartender Jacob tells you Seamus' father used to be a scientist who worked on a weapon to fight the Zergs. Apparently he went off to test the device and never returned. After showing Seamus his father's notebook and helping him decipher riddles from his father, he agreed to help us navigate through the sewers. Terrified of being eaten by Zergs, he says, I'll hang back. This single-player venture game is filled with shock, action, and drama. You make it to Doc's Limping, only to go on another dangerous mission. But at least now, Doc has his Zerg gun. Reuniting with Momo again, only for him to sacrifice himself for you to go on the other side. Stray is definitely one of the most creative games. You make it out the sewers into the ant village. B12 recovers more of his dark memories. He realizes he was a human hundreds of years ago. The mood was lightened soon after when we met some stoner robots. We find Balbazar. He gives you a Clementine's address, saying she's looking for a way out, and that you'll be the first to make it out. As the story goes on, it just keeps getting more and more depressing, although it does have its sweet scenes. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the story. Simon wants you to get rid of these Sentinel security cameras away from him from being watched in exchange for a cassette tape. Following through his request, Simon and his homies break down in a groovy dance. You end up finding Clementine and devise a plan to steal the atomic battery to power the subway train, and the only way to get to it is inside the Nico Corporation factory. Clementine says she knows a guy who can infiltrate the factory. You finally find Clementine's shady contact, Blazer, who smuggles you into the factory. After successfully stealing the battery, you go look for Clementine. You are invited inside a club by Arlex, who is arguably the best character in the game. Seriously, this guy is super chill. We find Blazer in VIP balcony doing some private business. Desperate to find Clementine, you give Frapp a drink for a lever needed to get into VIP, where Blazer is. Once inside VIP, you find out Blazer was an informant for the Sentinels. That fake mother. So he has Clem tied up, and you're captured and wake up later in a jail. Escaping your cage, you free Clementine, and you free B12. You see robots that were reset and even erased. Escaping the Sentinels, Clementine sacrifices herself for your getaway. Riding the subway to the control room, B12 recovers more of his memory. While B12 hacks the system and you're destroying stuff, we override the system. But B12 sacrifices himself, opening up the city. After taking a nap next to B12's lifeless body, you look for an opening out of the city. You walk out the doors into the outside and take one last look back before you walk away. Now, before this scene ends, we see the system go back online. What's this? Is B12 alive? Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait for part 2.